Ride through the city like Brennan Schaub. I'm on a mission to get it all. Ride through the city like Brennan Schaub. If you ain't thick, please don't get involved.
And now, Brandon Thick Boy Schaub.
Yes, sir. Monday morning, May 18th. What's up, fam? Fresh off the long road trip to Fort Worth, Texas. Got a new friend here. Check this out. Friends at the Stockyard Shops gave this to me. That's a real raccoon, Chan.
That's dope.
Smells gamey. He's giving you the bird. He's the newest addition to the set. I do have the UFC Freedom Belt coming. These mother truckers gave me an update on shipping. It said by July 14th.
Damn.
July 14th. July practice. Boys finished second at Nationals. Proud of them. Some good teams out there. Love Fort Worth. If I was in Austin, your boy would be in Fort Worth. Favorite hotel, was it the Drover, whatever? But your boy, I watched the Netflix fights, the majority of it on my cell phone because I was at the Stockyard. I was at the rodeo. So I was watching the majority of it on my phone. And then when I got to Saladin, Passanan, that's when I was able to watch it on a bigger screen. So I watched JDS just get nuked. We'll get to that. Man, where do we start with this MVP Netflix card? Here's the thing. So the narrative, I'm just going to hit it right off the top with the main event. The narrative that the Ronda Rousey Gina Carano fight was fake or fixed, I can see how people come to that conclusion. I'm not, a lot of people in the space are like, oh, you guys are idiots. It's such a casual take. I can very easily see how you come to that conclusion. It's not fixed. It's not. Again, I get it. Trust me, I get it. Especially you got Jake Paul involved. His thing with Mike Tyson. That thing was fixed. That's a fake fight. This is not that. But I think that outrage comes from you guys bought it. You guys bought it. Jake Paul, Ronda, they're doing the promoter thing, telling you that it's going to be this one product and you got something different. And the backlash and the anger comes from that. I understand all that. They got you. They robbed you blind. This entire thing, it was them robbing a Toys R Us before they got out of business. And Netflix fell for it. Depending on your expectations. So back to this being a fixed fight, definitely not. This was a case of Ronda Rousey, who has a very elite set of skills, especially when it comes to female fighting, versus a 44-year-old woman who was, by all metrics, obese just a few, years ago, even a year ago. She's lost over 100 pounds. So this was basically like Joe's versus Pros, if you remember that show on Spike. So if your expectations were Gina was going to put up some sort of fight or land some big shot, man, I'm sorry. It just wasn't that. This was, I told you guys when they announced this, look at her there, you know what I'm saying? So proud of her and her weight loss journey, and she got healthy and she looks remarkable. She looks amazing. So for Gina, it was it was never about being in a competitive fight. It was never about winning a fight. That was not possible. It was about her getting on this road to weight loss. And that was her win. Her win was getting out of this hole where she gets, canceled and fired and the whole Star Wars thing and the cancel culture. And she blows up to, she looks 300 pounds there, but, blows up to whatever, 200 plus pounds. And then Ronda's like, hey, man, I also need a comeback story. I left the sport, and it's not the way I want my movie to end. Here's my idea. And I think even though Gina knows, we all know that she's going to get starched in this fight, she's like, yeah, let's do it. This will be something good. I'll make a lot of money, gets my career back on track, gets Ronda back in the limelight. But Ronda's job, it was never about winning the fight. That's a given. It's such a given. This was about Ronda. She's really the promoter. Jake really didn't promote it. Ronda was paid, and she was paid very well, to sell you guys on a product, sell you guys on a spectacle, and that was her number one job, and she did just that. Nobody else. She carried the card. But usually when you have a fighter doing that, there's expectations or there's a lot on the line. For Ronda, there was nothing on the line. She was, again, it's going to sound like I'm hating on Gina. I am not. I love Gina. She knows this. I'm proud of her. I'm glad she made all the money. I'm glad she's in phenomenal shape. She looks remarkable. Probably the hottest MMA fighter of all time. And she reminded us why on Saturday night and throughout this whole promotion. I love Gina. But Gina's a white belt, guys. White belt. And not like a season, like, man, she keeps going. She's going to get good and give her a blue belt. Like, straight up, very, very low level white belt by today's standards. When she was fighting, and a lot of you, if you're new to the sport, and there's nothing wrong with that, all good, baby, welcome to the shit show. But even when when Gina was in her prime, she was a white belt. And back then there was maybe 8 girls competing, so she was the best of the 8. And even her striking was not world class by any metrics. So you look at the champs today, like Mackenzie Dern would beat the brakes off her, dude. And so would a lot of other girls. And they would beat Ronda. It's just the times have changed. So, Ronda, even though she is older, even though she's been out of sport for a number of years, the one thing she does is elite, high level, world class. Gina hasn't fought in 16 years, y'all, and never had a world-class background. She just was the first kind of do it, figured some stuff out, very attractive. And then when she finally did fight like a real fighter in Cyborg, she got fucking mollywopped. So it's like, I get being upset because you guys got bamboozled. And Ronda did her job and sold this, and you guys thought it was gonna be one thing and it was this. But it was not fake. And I'll be the first one. If I smell any funk, I don't work for MVP. That's a whole nother story. I wish I could tell. I don't work for Netflix MVP. I don't work for the UFC. So I have no skin in the game. I can't get fired. I can't get hired from any of these promotions. So trust me, I wish I could come on here and play into, oh, this thing's fake or this thing's fixed, but that's not this. It's just not. And I can see how you guys think it is, but this is a case of pros versus Joes. One girl was on a fitness, weight loss, redemption journey. The other girl had a world-class set of skills, and even with a few years off, that world-class armbar is there, and this is how it goes. It's just how it goes. And it also doesn't help for you guys who do think this is rigged that they love each other. So the fight gets done, they're hugging and crying, telling each other how proud they are. It was kind of a letdown. But you kind of got to blame yourself because we fell for it. We fell for it. I didn't, but I can see how you guys did. And it's all good. It's all good. Again, my whole criticism of the Netflix MVP card, this is straight entertainment. So depending what you want out of the sport, this entire card, except for one guy, and I'll get to him. But this entire fight card is straight up entertainment, lopsided mismatches, supposed to be finishes, and that's what they're giving you. And it's this thing couldn't be more for the casuals, and that's going to check the box. And you had a good time with your boys, you're at Buffalo Wild Wings, or you're with your buddies, you're drinking Miller Lights, or whatever the fuck you're drinking, you're having some chicken wings, and you're looking for quick, exciting shit. That's what this is. This is fast food at the highest level. You got a bunch of Big Macs. This isn't gourmet, very well done mixed martial arts. It's just not. That was on Paramount, and that was Arnold Allen. And if you're a fan of the sport and like really technical prospects, contenders, high-level fighting, you would have watched Paramount. But most of us didn't. My dumbass watches both. But if you're not balls deep in MMA, you would tune into this. It's fast food. And like the whole rant here, my issue is, and I've said this since day one, what's next? Because when I watch a main event, when I watch the other fighters on the card, in the back of my mind, I know this isn't going to go anywhere, guys. And it's not even that I'm not hating on them. I think the more the merrier. If fighters have more places to go, the better, and they can make profit. We'll get to the whole pay thing. That's a whole another narrative they ran on, and that's also not true. And you guys bought that narrative. It's not true. They're not paying fighters more. All good. But there's still another place for fighters to go. But my whole thing with all this is, like with Ronda and Gina, neither of them are ever fighting again. This was they robbed a Toys R Us, they got all their toys, and they're out, man. And Toys R Us is shut down now. So they're out. Don't even think about it, they're out. Mike Perry, Nate Diaz. Again, Nate Diaz robbed the toy store. That motherfucker, he's a legend, known for his durability, his toughness. He didn't want to be in there. He didn't train proper. At the live workouts, the warm-ups, he didn't even warm up. He didn't want to see his movement. He's compromised. By all metrics, he's compromised. So, the one fight you thought was going to be the best matchup on the card, that was, 2 rounds of Mike Perry beating the dog shit out of Nate Diaz. And Mike Perry, what he's done outside the UFC is remarkable, and he's a dog, but it's not world-class shit. That was him it was a punching bag. It was a really tough punching bag. Nate Diaz fans like, oh, they're lucky they stopped that thing. Okay. Again, if that helps you get through your week, okay, he's done. And I got texts, and I got DMs like, oh, I bet you're loving this Nate Diaz fight. Fuck, man, have you guys never watched anything I do or talk about? I don't want to see Nate Diaz go out like that. I like Nate. I don't want to see anybody go out like it's not. I don't get any enjoyment out of that. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't want that for him. I don't like that shit. That's not cool. What I don't like is after that fight, and this is how you know there's no game plan for the future. That's how you know they're cooked. There's no plan. They're just running on the fucking shooting for the hip. Who's a free agent? Who's the biggest thing we can get? Who's this? Who's that? What's the next circus we can put on? Who can we pay? And there's no plan. And that was made clear because who did every single fighter call out? Jake Paul. He doesn't fight MMA. He's never fought MMA. You had Mike Perry calling him out. You had Francis calling him out. And you're just like, what the fuck? And then, Jake tweets, let's run it back, rematch, Nate versus Mike Perry in Stockton. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. But part of me is like, please don't, because I don't want to see Nate suffer more head trauma. But then I lean on the side also of, if people are going to pay him, I guess, so it's a fine line. If you idiots are going to pay this dude a bag, to go in there, not really train, smoke weed, and then just kind of get stopped. Okay. Yeah, get your bag, bro. You know, I don't want to see it, but the whole issue is there's no game plan for what's next, because there's just no way to get it done. So Netflix isn't in the business of growing the sport. They're in the business of spectacles. That's what this is. So I bet you get maybe 1 to 2 cards a year. I'm assuming Netflix liked what they saw in the numbers. But where do you go? You know, where do you go? I don't know. And if you're a Parnasse fan, a Saladin Parnasse fan, if you want him to achieve greatness, you got to let him go. He should be with the UFC. He's by far, and if you're a casual, you're like, yeah, he seemed good. Listen to me right now. Ronda, Gina, Mike Perry, Nate Diaz, Francis, Philip Lins, Robelis Despaigne, JDS. Fuck all that noise. The most talented, the most special person on that card is Saladin. By far, bar none. He is a motherfucking beast. If you're unfamiliar with his work, he's a 2-weight world champion. At 45-55, went for a 3rd weight class at 70. It was too much for him. He also boxes professionally. He can handle wrestlers, grapplers, strikers, whatever you want. This motherfucker is the guy. So out of everybody on the card, he's the only one with a future. Nobody else. And his ceiling is very fucking high. UFC dropped the ball. Now, a lot of you will have issues with UFC not getting the Jon Jones deal done and the Gina and Ronda fight done and the White House card and, you know, the Paramount and the watered down fight. I hear all that. Their biggest mistake was not paying Saladin, by far. That they dropped the ball on that by far. You're talking about a major prospect who would jump right into 55 and give all those boys problems. And they just went, nah, we don't want to pay him. Let's take a little break here, kids. We're talking about all the things, Real Housewives, the MVP Netflix card, and the UFC. Conor's back, baby. Listen, starting something new isn't just hard. It's terrifying. So much work goes into this thing that you're not entirely sure will work out. You're banking on yourself. It can be hard to make that leap of faith, but trust me, I know. When I started this podcast, I wasn't sure what the hell I'm doing. I'm still not. What if they don't listen? What if I make a fool of myself, which I do every day? What if no one buys my product? Sometimes that happens, and you just keep on keeping on, all right? Now, I know that I was right in believing in myself and launching this podcast, despite all the fears and hesitations. It also helps when I get a partner like Shopify. Cha-ching! Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S. from household names. The big boys, to even everything I've done, Drive Fast All Gas, everything. We always use Shopify because they help you out so much. They got a marketing team, all right? Get the word out like you have a marketing team. Easy create emails and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. All right, they have world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. All right, they have great customer service 24/7. And also they have the Shop Pay button. That is the button. It's a little purple button used by millions of businesses around the world. It makes it super easy for your people to convert the checkouts. It's the best converting checkout on the planet. All right. So that means less carts go abandoned and more sales for you. All right. So it's time to turn those what ifs into cha-ching with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period today at shopify.com/Schaub, all lowercase, SCHAB, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Schaub, lowercase. That's shopify.com/Schaub, all lowercase. Cha-ching. Let's get back to the program. So that to me, out of all the shit that they've dropped the ball on, that would be the biggest. As far as bringing in actual talent to compete at the highest level and actually make a difference and actually go on a run, that's your guy. Nobody else on this card. Nobody else out there in these organizations. He's the guy. They decide for whatever reason couldn't come to agreement. I don't know if it's a thing with KSW. I don't know. We've had other fighters from KSW make a run, and Yuri, and there's a bunch of other, they have monsters out there. He's a guy, they dropped the ball. They dropped the fucking ball on that. Majorly. And I think, too, the reason why this card's getting so much backlash is I'm just curious of what your expectations were. Because by all metrics, this was a fun card. Like, it was a fun fight night, Like, the commentating, was my favorite. No, I love Morrow. Morrow's my favorite. And for me, it's nostalgia and, he's done Pride. He's done some of the biggest boxing. I've worked with Morrow. I love Morrow. I like his old school, callbacks. And when Nate's walking out, this guy's been shot more times than Tupac and all that. Like, I like all that old school stuff. If you're not from those days, though, you're going, what the fuck is this compared to the UFC? You're going, oh my, what am I watching? Like, I was watching my father-in-law. He's like, dude, this Morrow guy's corny. I'm like, how dare you? He's not corny. It's just, he's old school. I enjoyed it. Ariel's getting a lot of flack online. So anybody, I work for Gamebred. I do commentating Gamebred. I work the desk and then I go into the cage, right? You have producers in your ear. So if you were like, man, I can't believe they gave Ariel so much airtime and all these fucking questions. Again, similar to you guys thinking the main event was rigged, your anger towards Ariel just lets me know you've never worked in entertainment. Because I could have told you right away, they're telling him in his ear, you got to drag it out. You got to keep asking questions, drag it out. And they're trying to fulfill time. The pacing that, they're new to this. They're not the UFC, which is a well-oiled machine. So the pacing, we got to keep a schedule. And that relies on Ariel. So in his ear, trust me, I'm sure Ariel's like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, they're doing this. Drag it on. So maybe Ariel's not your cup of tea. That's fine. But trust me, going into that night, they weren't like, hey, get ready to do 2 hours of fucking talking. Sometimes shit happens. If the fights are going too fast like these were, which should have been expected, but he has to make up that airtime. They have to get to a designated amount of time. The fighters kind of need a little designated time to warm up. So that's on the commentators. That's on Ariel. You got to drag it out. You got to make time. You got to expand. They call it stretching. You got to stretch. So that's kind of the two major problems, right? A lot of Ariel backlash. A lot of the fight's rigged. Which again, I see how I get it. I'm not faulting you guys for coming to those conclusions. I'm just giving you insight on how the hot dog is made. That wasn't Ariel's fault. That's a production thing. They need him to drag it out and kind of get space, expand this thing out, dude. We're moving way too fast. That's what happens there. The other narrative, and this is just fucking marketing and people wanting clicks. One of the issues is, as a sport, you want to be taken serious. But the MVP Netflix, going into this fight, they're going for clicks. They're going for the clickbait stuff, and they know they invited Jon, right? Jon didn't have to pay anything. They gave him the red carpet treatment. They have him on the desk, and that's not his thing, right? He's super awkward on there. It's not his thing. He's the greatest fighter of all time. He sucks when it comes to being on camera. It's not his thing. And they're trying, right? But you could tell all that was pre-thought out. All that was like, man, we got Francis. As soon as Francis wins, we're him and Jon, they kind of forced it. But if you heard Jon talk, and there's a sound issue, right? Jon couldn't hear everybody. But if you hear Jon talk, they're like, Francis, Jon, get out of your contract. That's so dumb. Straight up. That's so fucking dumb. And put all that to the side. Let's pretend that Jon could get out of his contract. We will get to that after this. That's never fucking happened. But let's say he could get out of his contract and Netflix bought his contract from the UFC for $1 billion. We're in fuck all world right now. Jon's number one thing, not money, not getting out of the contract, If you listen to that interview, he says, I'm done. I'm actually retired. Everything's all good. I also have really bad arthritis. I'm done. And then they keep pushing him. Yeah, but if you get out of your contract, but remember, the first thing he said before all this was, no, guys, really, I'm retired. I'm good. I have arthritis. I'm injured. I'm done. But no one is using that as a headline. Jon says he's officially done. Francis, Jon's not happening. Everyone's running on, if Jon could just get out of his UFC contract, which is so fucking dumb, because he signed a 6-fight deal, which is seal tight. Ear fucking tight. That's why the UFC does so well. They're business first. Those contracts, trust your boy. Those fucking contracts are ear fucking tight. You ain't going nowhere at all. There's no way around it. There's no way to finagle your way out of it. There's no small print where you can hire some fancy badass lawyer to find a way out. That's not real, guys. He has a 6-fight deal. He's done 2 of them. He has 4 fucking fights left. Jon can't fight 4 times. You will never see Jon fight again unless it's in the UFC, but I don't see that happening. That should be the narrative online, not, man, let's see if Jon can get out of his contract and let's see if the Netflix will pay for it. That's fuck all world. That's not real. It's real Monday, y'all. It's real raw Monday. Here's what's real. That fight's not rigged. Jon's never fighting in fucking MVP Netflix. That's real. That's real. The other thing is, with Francis versus Philip Lins, so Francis fought a 205er. And Philip Lins did what he could do, and I think he came into that cage at 220 pounds. Severely, severely undersized, and he still had some success. It's tough for me to say that Francis is the best in the world. Now, if I'm Francis, I'm going to say that. I'm going to sell you guys on that. But also, history shows that when he left, he was champ, so that it's hard to argue. But off technique, optics, strength of schedule, it's a very, very tough argument. It's a very tough argument. Now, if I'm Francis, I really don't give a fuck because I'm beating up guys like Philip Lins, and maybe he fights Robelis next, who got cut from the UFC. So you're kind of fighting these guys who aren't very good, and you're making a lot of money, and you can claim you're the best. You never lost the belt in the UFC. So it's kind of a good gig for Francis. You're not competing against the best in the world, but you can claim you're the best in the world. You're getting paid. But also, if you're Francis, hey, bud, I guarantee if you gave Francis, you go, hey, man, I'll give you $1 million if you can tell me when you're going to fight next. He'd go, I don't know. I have no clue. Hopefully they make the Robelis fight happen in 6 months. So there's no plan. There's no plan. The only plan that could get another card going and create any sort of momentum is if the promoter, Jake Paul, decides to fight MMA. And he just got cleared because he had surgery on his jaw. And the reason that got very dicey for him, they thought he'd maybe never fight again, is he got an infection in there. A very, very bad infection. The first surgery did not go right. I think he's had 2 or 3 surgeries. So they don't know. And then he's cleared and sees how he responds to getting hit in 2 to 3 months. So I would assume he probably doesn't take a fight for at least 6 months. And he did say MMA is not next. It's boxing. Okay. So that means you're not getting another MVP Netflix fight this year, probably, because you're going to need him to fight MMA. And you guys might not want to hear this, but he beats Mike Perry and Nate Diaz in MMA, especially Nate Diaz. I know. It sucks. He beats both of them. That's real. So I just don't know where they go. I don't know where they go. And that's my whole issue with this thing is you just don't know what's next. There's no buildup. They ran on the fact that, hey, fighters, come over. Remember, Ronda was like, man, you need to come over here. Come talk to me. Okay, let's talk. So just so we're all clear, Ronda's made more money. in the UFC than she did that night. Mike Perry's made more money. Nate Diaz sure as fuck made more money. Francis has made more money. Parnasse has made more money. JDS sure as fuck has made more money. I guess they're running on the fact like, yeah, but the undercard made 40 and 40. It's like, yeah, so all they did, so you guys know, to make it look like this, Mike Perry's definitely made more money. But just so you guys know, even if they give them bonuses, their whole narrative on, we pay fighters better than the UFC, that's not real. You pay some of the undercard a little higher. So all they're doing is taking the money from the top dogs and just draining it down to the prelims. So the prelim gets a little more, but we're taking away from the top. It's kind of similar payouts. Here you go. This is UFC. This is when Strickland fought Hamzat. So Ronda made $2.2 million. Gina made $1 million. That's your main event. Hamzat made $3 million. Strickland made $1 million. Joshua Van made more money than basically everybody on the card. I mean, King Green, the numbers, they're just, but again, they run on that and you guys are buying it. It's not real. It's not real. It's not real at all. It's not real at all. And also it's very short-sighted. So if you look at, any of these fighters. So it's like Mike Perry, again, the active ones. None of these people are that active. But so if you go over to Netflix MVP and let's say they pay you $1 million, but you're making $700,000 fighting the UFC. Well, if you got paid $1 million just for that one fight, but I can fight 2 to 3 times in the UFC, that's more money. And that's all you give a fuck about. So again, I think a lot of the backlash comes from you guys bought what they were selling. I never did. And the other narrative, and I told you they were going to do this, the numbers are astronomical. They're bigger than ever. They're not. They're not bigger than Conor, Khabib days. It's not even remotely fucking close. Not even close. Not even in the same universe. Just not. Now, I'm sure other numbers will come out today as I'm doing this show. Man, most watched MMA fight of all time. I call bullshit. I'm telling you, I've told you this since day one. Netflix never releases numbers. Those numbers are based off hearsay. There's no proof ever. It's the same way they tell you a Mayweather fight sells this many pay-per-views. That's not true. HBO and Showtime do not release numbers. Netflix is going to tell you this is a major success. That's not true. Just not. It's not. The gate was not great. And again, I'm not hating on them. I know it sounds like I'm a UFC homer. And part of me is, I guess, part of me, I don't know. They're like the new kid in school. Like, I don't know, man. Right? Kind of like, get the fuck out of here. But for fighters, it's good. But I'm not buying what they're selling. This whole notion of we're doing it for the fighters, we're fighter first, bullshit. I'm not buying it. I'm just not. And the narrative of Netflix, the most watched fight of all time, not buying it. Not buying it at all.
And you saw the crowd, right, when you were watching online?
Yeah, the crowd's tough. Like, I have a buddy who was there and was like, man, it's not empty, but it's not sold out. He's like, but I also know they gave a shit ton of tickets away. Like the day of, they were giving a shit ton of tickets away. So I know the gate wasn't great. But again, UFC kind of plays the same game too, where, by the end of it, the UFC always does pretty well, but leading up to it, the arenas are a little empty. And of course they want to sell out, but they're not ride or die off the gate anymore. It's more of views and the advertising and stuff like that. So I don't know if Netflix is like, oh, fuck, we didn't sell out, because I don't think they were banking on it, But maybe they were. I've heard reports, again, all hearsay, who knows? It could just be haters. Heard it's the worst selling event in that arena so far. Who knows? Did Did you watch it, Chin?
Of course.
Yeah, I thought the broadcast was fine. I have no issues with it. The people, crying over Ariel, it's like that's his job. He had to, stretch things out because of the timing and the pacing. Some of the video packages were just kind of out of nowhere. It wasn't seamless. They were a little abrupt, especially when they ended. The walkouts were great. Visually, it was great. The cage looked great. I didn't have too much of a problem with it. Visually, it looked really good.
Yeah,
it looked like nice. A big event, which I expected.
I like Kenny too. I think Kenny did a great job.
Kenny's great. Mm-hmm. Kenny's great. It got a little awkward when Woodley was like trying to tell Jon have Netflix pay to get him out of his contract.
Woodley was fumbling quite a bit from what I noticed, but yeah.
Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. A lot of that was forced. Jon Francis thing was forced. You could tell that was all pre-thought of. It just wasn't natural. Jon's not great on the mic. That thing did kick off with him being like, hey, man, I'm retired. I'm happy. I have horrible arthritis, so I'm done.
He looks just chill.
Yeah. They're like, yeah, but if you could get out of your contract, he's like, I never thought of that before. It's like, fuck. Go back to the rest of the card?
Yeah. To the prelims?
I mean, the one, go down the prelims. The one that was super awkward was Marias and Nakuda.
Yeah, what did you think of that? I couldn't really tell.
I mean, it's pretty easy to figure out. I mean so the choke, he was hand fighting when the bell rang and he held the choke on. The fight should have been stopped then. He holds it for 2 seconds, then he goes out. This isn't a hard one to figure out.
Okay, because I couldn't tell when exactly the bell went off, but
I could. 4:59.
All right.
4:59, he's hand fighting. Ding! He holds on.
He definitely held on.
5:01, 5:02, 5:03, he goes to sleep.
Oh, that long. Okay. Well, I know they're appealing it, so I don't know what's going to happen with the appeal.
As they should. Yeah, and even back to the main event. California is one of the strictest commissions. In all honesty, I'm surprised that got sanctioned. A girl, Gina Carano, a girl was 16 years off. 16 years off. And I told y'all, when this got announced, Ronda should probably be a minus 5,000, minus 8,000. But the odds makers were kind of like, all right, we haven't seen Ronda fight in a hot second. We haven't seen Gina ever fight, basically. So we're going to make it a little closer than what it should be. But again, I told you guys from the fucking jump, if you just listen to me sometimes, I know I get a lot of shit wrong, but sometimes I'm right. She should have been a minus 10,000. It's just what it is. So that would, if those odds were that big, that would set expectations for you, The only obviously Ronda and Gina are the biggest winners because nobody got hurt. 17 seconds, you sold the fight, you robbed the toy store. So they're the biggest winners. As far as fighting goes, Mike Perry, I guess. Francis, you're not the best outing. Struggled a little bit, against a 205er. Nate was Nate.
Yeah, okay, so I want to ask you about that. He essentially, this is once again, Mike Perry. It's so fucking crazy how he makes everybody quit, even in MMA now too. And I think is that the first time? That must be the first time Nate actually.
Well, he didn't quit. Stitch wouldn't let him go out because the blood was so bad.
Oh, that's what it was?
Yeah, Nate didn't.
I thought Nate waved it off.
No. Pretty sure Stitch Duran, who's a legend, was like, nah, man, you can't go out there.
I'll say this: that blood was that was the craziest I've ever seen. It's like a faucet.
Yeah, because he has so much scar tissue. Mm-hmm. But even Nate, and I'm glad he said this, he's like, it doesn't matter. I wasn't doing shit. I couldn't do shit. Yeah. He's done, man. He's done. It's over. The ride's over. Over.
He's really good at handling that loss too. His press conference, it's he makes it like it's nothing. I have some clips.
That's because he's lost so many times, Jen.
Yeah. And plus, he's
lost. 18 times, 17 times. So it's
He brought that up too about
you used to doing that stuff, you know? Still a legend, still tough dude, but you got to stop. But again, if MVP Netflix is dumb enough to pay him a bag again to fight in Stockton, get your bag, bro.
His bag was kind of small though, right? It said $500K.
Yeah, and that's the disclosed amount. But everyone wants to be like, yeah, that's just what they're telling us. They're paying these guys so much. And that's the way the UFC got around fucking guys over too. They're taking a page out of the UFC's book. We're fighters first. Then disclose how much you're paying everybody. So Nate can compare his purse to everybody else. Like, all you're doing is the same shit the UFC does. We pay people over here. Show us. Because from the looks of it, you're not.
For the Ronda finish, do you think Herb got there in time, or what did you think about that? The armbar.
Yeah, I'd have an issue with it, especially with arm bars. Again, it's just very low. In 2026, like the chance of pulling off an arm bar in today's world with the knowledge, and you can learn on fucking YouTube how to defend an arm bar. The chances, even high level people pulling off arm bars, the success rate is not high. It's too easy to defend these days.
And that quick, too.
Yeah, it's like you did a whole training camp and there was no...
I know, that was trippy.
Like as soon as she got to mount, punch you, and you give your arm up, like the whole training camp. But again, proud of her, got in shape, but there's no effort there. Y'all can learn how to defend an arm bar better than Gina Carano literally in 30 seconds on YouTube. All good. You got paid, girl, and you look great.
She did look great.
But again, there's nowhere to go from here. And Gino's like, man, I wish they gave me a striker. No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
It's like the best case scenario, right?
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't want those problems. Yeah. No, you don't. No, you don't. That was best case scenario, girl. You don't want a striker. They give you like Holly or Chris Cyborg, you're super fucked. But again, there's nowhere to go. And for Francis, it's like, but again, if you don't care about legacy, you're just a prize fighter, which he is. He's like, yeah, pay me whatever a mil to fight the next dude, you know?
Oh, that's one part of the news too. He gave his $100,000 bonus to.
Oh, did you? Oh, did you give Philip Lins an extra $100K? That's the right thing to do. The guy decided to fight your ass, and he's a 205er, and they only paid him $100K. That's wild. But I thought you guys were taking care of fighters. So Francis made 10 times the amount of his opponent? Okay.
Yeah.
What else you got, Jen?
You want to talk about the Arnold Allen?
Arnold Allen looked great. Arnold Allen looked fantastic. I had it 50. You could even do 50 fucking 44 if you wanted. Arnold Allen remind us why he's so fucking good. Duho looked great.
Yeah, body shots, baby. That was
looked fantastic. Fantastic. Cass Williams looked fucking good. Our boy Andre Petrovsky lost. That's
a bummer, yeah.
I know. But Arnold Allen, again, but he's a tough one. He's a tough one. He's not the gatekeeper that you all thought he was. He's fucking good, but he just can't get over that hump against the elite guys. But he looked fantastic.
Yeah.
What else you got, Bubba?
All right, let's go. Oh, the biggest news, I guess, during the broadcast.
You guess? Jesus Christ.
It is the biggest news.
This is the biggest thing all fucking weekend. And dude, I don't know what it is. I love it.
Right.
Real quick, what'd I tell you?
Yeah.
Again, go back to last week. I went, you're getting the Conor. They're just waiting to drop it on Netflix week. They're just waiting. It's this thing signed, sealed, delivered. There's rumblings. I knew well before that. I told y'all 6 months ago it's Conor and Max.
Yeah.
I told y'all. I also told you it's done. They're waiting to drop it to steal the shine from Netflix. So what's the great Dana White do? He goes, oh, I know I'm going to drop it. I'm going to drop it as Francis is walking out.
Yeah, what do you think about that timing? The
Love
Francis
it.
walkout.
Love it. Fuck him. Fuck him.
Fuck him.
Love it. Gangster. Old vintage Dana. Love it. Now, to do it on like Instagram Live, I feel like there could have been a better release, but that's just the world we live in now where Dana's like, yeah, whatever, I'll just do it on here. We don't need to pay somebody.
I'll just play real quick for you.
He said, BSD versus Paddy Pimblett, July 11th International Fight Week in the main event. Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor.
Yep, so that's UFC 329.
Could have been a cool announcement. It's cool to do it during Francis' walkout. Just petty as fuck. Just petty as fuck. Love the fight. You don't know what version of Conor we're going to get. Here's what's interesting with all this. So, you know, with the UFC passing on Gina and Ronda and Nate Diaz, in hindsight now, you can say, oh, now we see why the UFC passed. Yes and no. Let's not act like the UFC's too good to book a Gina Ronda fight or Nate Diaz Conor 3 fight. Like, they've done James Toney, they've done CM Punk. It's a little different now, but they're not beyond this. So take it easy there. Here's what's kind of weird. Talk about the butterfly effect. Nate looked so bad that he's never fighting the UFC again. That's what fucked him. Because remember, he was like, me and Conor get to it. I'm going to do my thing. He's going to do his. Yeah, but you looked awful. The UFC's never paying for that again. Not a chance. Not a chance. So you're not going to get Conor Diaz 3. That's out the window now. That's what was at stake for Nate that night. He looked so bad, the UFC's just not in that business anymore. They're not in the Nate Diaz business anymore. He fucked that up. And what else is interesting is, so there's two big losers from the Conor Max Holloway announcement. Nate Diaz is probably the biggest loser because the way, I'm not calling him a loser. I'm saying as far as losing the sweepstakes to fight Conor for the third time. I'm not calling him a loser. What I'm saying is his performance was such a shell of himself, the UFC's never going to sign him again. This is a fact. The other loser in all this is Charles Oliveira. Because Charles Oliveira fought for a BMF title against Max Holloway. If he would have won that fight by striking, or if he would have at least made it entertaining, he would have got the Conor McGregor sweepstakes. Because they want Conor to fight for a belt. He won the BMF by playing it safe, and he won, but he missed out on a huge opportunity because now the UFC went, oh, we're not going to bring Conor back. Even though we want him to fight for a belt for the BMF, we ain't going to rest and lay and pray with Charles Oliveira. No. Max, you down? Max like, yep. So even though Max lost that fight via decision to a bunch of fucking grappling, he actually won because he won the Conor sweepstakes. So Charles missed out. Boy, did he fuck up. And boy, did Nate fuck up. They both missed out on the Conor sweepstakes. And the winner of all this is Max Holloway, which is awesome.
Okay, so there is, you heard it, I'm sure, in the broadcast that there's talk about the rematch with Mike Perry. And I know you're going to talk shit about it, but
The rematch with who?
With Nate in Sacramento. So let's say that does happen, which it seems like it's not going to happen anymore.
Happen.
So let's say it does, and then Nate does well. I don't think he's going to win against Max Perry, but if he does well, does that bring him back to the UFC?
Damaged goods. It's over. And he's not going to do well. He's never going to beat Mike. It's over, Bubba. Because, again, it's not a thing. Again, the Nate Diaz fan base is like, well, the only reason he lost that is because he had that cut on his eye. No, motherfucker. Horrible footwork, bad cardio, bad timing. It's not there anymore. Bad movement. He looked like a shell of himself.
Yeah.
Those days are done. It's over. Now, if Conor looks like Nate, where he's a super shell of himself, looks awful, maybe the UFC lets him go. We don't know the stipulations of his contract. I don't know how many fights he had to sign. I would assume the UFC knows that MVP Netflix is out there and they don't want people just jumping ship going over there. So I assume they tied him up. Also, maybe not, because Conor McGregor. And they're like, well, let's see how this one goes and go from there. Maybe that'd be unprecedented. You know, it's not really what they do. The only way you could get Nate Conor 3 would be a Netflix MVP. And if Conor signed a very short fight contract, which I don't think so.
Yeah, I
can almost guarantee you Conor will look better than Nate Diaz did against Mike Perry. I will guarantee you. It'd be very hard to look worse than that. Very, very hard. Last little break here, kids. You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. That's $900 on average. They make it super simple. Pop over to progressive.com, answer some quick questions. You get a quick quote with coverage options tailored to your choices. I just did this for my trucks. Plus, you'll see which discounts you may qualify for, like online quote discounts or saving for paying in full. In fact, 99% of Progressive Auto customers earn at least one discount. See if you could save when you switch to Progressive. You'll feel good about making a savvy choice. Visit progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little extra cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates, national average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary. Progressive.
At first, I didn't think it was real. I woke up to this blinding light, and I was transported to another place. Pluto TV. Then I heard a voice.
Come with me if you want to live.
There were thousands of movies and shows, and they were all free.
Truth is ours.
It's just so beautiful.
On Pluto TV, free streaming of Terminator 2, Fringe, Arrow, The 100, and The X-Files may cause excitement, loss of sleep, and sudden belief in extraterrestrials. No credit cards or alien encounters necessary. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.
Yeah, that was not great.
BSD, Paddy Pimblett. Good fight. Very tough fight for Paddy. Very, very tough fight coming off that loss to Justin. Very, very tough fight for him. I'm rooting for him. You guys know I love Paddy. I hate that matchup for him. Hate it, hate it, hate it.
Yeah, I don't know much. I don't actually know anything about Alicia Ellison. But that's cool.
Oh, he's the slaughtering lamb for Gable Steveson. You don't need to know much. He's about to get fucking starched, buddy.
Yeah, they're definitely build up. They should build up Gable for sure.
That's what they're doing.
So this is just Francis's reaction to the whole Conor McGregor announcement versus Max Holloway during his walkout.
I went live on Instagram and announced Conor McGregor's return. Did you realize that or no? And how do you feel about it?
And what the fuck do I have to do with that? I mean, so I should stop my workout and look what is going on with?
No, well, people during the week were saying that he was going to announce it.
I don't care, bro.
Okay.
Let's move on. Life goes on. I'm doing my stuff here. I'm doing good. I have no problem. Everybody can do whatever he wants.
I don't know if you noticed.
Okay,
yeah, I'm with Francis. He's like, the fuck am I supposed to do? All right. UFC gonna UFC, man.
And this is Jake Paul's reaction as well.
I love the cokehead is back. Nice. Listen, yeah, that's cool, bro. Cool, yeah. Drop it during our event. Doesn't matter. That just shows how pressed they are.
No.
Little insecure boys trying to piggyback off of our event and try to put some news over top of us. It's not going to work, buddy.
On the flip side, I'm super excited that Conor is back. He's, one of the most engaging characters in the sport. And I think it's good for the sport, right? And I've said this numerous times.
Smart man.
The biggest fight outside of Paul Tyson that can happen globally is Paul McGregor. And hopefully Conor is back, and hopefully these two run it in boxing and MMA, and we shatter records all over again. So welcome back, Conor, and thank you, Dana, for bringing him back during the Francis Ngannou walkout. That's beautiful.
There you go. That's a businessman. Mm-hmm. That's a businessman.
He did work with UFC.
He's like, oh, Conor is back. We're cooking. Because that's the potential for Jake. As far as UFC insecurity, there's no insecurity. Like MVP Netflix isn't a threat. You just have a bunch of old fighters that made names off the UFC fighting. Like they've beat this monster before. They've seen this monster so many times. This was Bellator, PFL, Strikeforce. Like they've seen this monster so many times. Like this isn't new. When they're like, we're changing the game, you're not though in any facet. You're paying the fighters the same. You're flashing the pan. Hopefully you guys stick around so fighters keep making money, but this isn't, we're changing the game forever. No one's been like us. You're exactly the same as everybody else. And they all went away. You've done nothing different.
The pay thing is
These
the
are facts.
trippiest too. The pay thing, like that was one of the hugest talking points is the pay thing.
Gets
And then
people to
after
tune in.
Seeing the numbers, it's like, whoa, dude.
Yeah. Gets people to tune in. But again, this is a monster the UFC's already slayed. UFC ain't worried.
Did you see this bizarre thing?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, he just wipes the blood on his face.
Yeah, so Jake Paul just puts Nate, and Nate didn't give a shit. Jake Paul just rubbed his blood on his face, which is trippy. And we've kind of talked about this, but I'll just play real quick. This is Nate Diaz's response to him losing.
I saw his quote. He doesn't believe in age. He said somebody just made that shit up. Well,
it's kind of real.
Yeah.
Maybe I just don't fight the most violent. Maybe I just fight the second most violent.
What will the end of your career look like? How will we know when it's done?
You won't. This shit forever anyway.
Nate, we got one over here.
And then people will be like, you lost, you should hang him up. And like, isn't this the most violent motherfucker who just knocked out fucking middleweight champion Luke Rockhold and Jeremy Stevens? And who the fuck did he just beat? Eddie Alvarez? Well, he's the lightweight champion forever. And then, yeah, and he's popping, he's doing all this shit, fighting everybody. He's got a fucking broken face and broken everybody's shit all over the place. So you should hang him up. I just fought the most violent motherfucker right there. So maybe I just need to fucking run a little harder next time I get the fucking job done. And if I fucking didn't, then you should hang him up. Maybe I just don't fight the most violent. Maybe I just fight the second most violent.
That was the quote that was going around.
Yeah, it's a fun quote. I get it, and that's why people love Nate. No. The issue is it's not because you fought the most violent. It's actually, my concern for him isn't who he's fighting. My concern for him is he looked like a shell of himself. It's forever. It's not. Now, maybe because you're Nate Diaz and people can make money off your name, you can be able to squeeze a little more juice out of this,
He seems to be able to do it every time. It's kind of trippy. I don't know how much longer he can do it, though. But, yeah.
Again, I'm not get your bag, Bubba. Hopefully they do the rematch in Stockton. He makes more money, but
okay. There's this funny thing by Chael. I'll just play the clip.
Francis Ngannou is fighting a guy named Lenz. Without being condescending, I don't know if Lenz is the guy's first name, last name, or nickname. I also know that the guy is so much smaller than Francis that if any walk of life this happened, we would be disgusted that Francis picked on such a little guy. Now, what if, keep that in mind, what if Francis, who's co-main eventing to a couple of girls, I would never do that. What if Francis invoked the fact that he is the linear champion? What if he proclaimed himself to be the greatest heavyweight of all time? What if he proclaimed his co-main event, greatly oversized fight with unknown opponent as proof to his greatness? Would it infuriate you? And if it did, wouldn't that be the greatest marketing angle that he could currently take? I'm going to share that thought and so much more. All you got to do is click on any link provided and enjoy.
Yeah, he's saying like he just went into that whole like I'm the best because I beat that Philippines dude. I'm the best heavyweight.
It's kind of what he's doing.
He did,
because they were like, "Are you the best heavyweight in the world?" He's like, "Fuck yeah!" You're like, "Okay,"
but like really leaning into that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
This submission, have you seen this before? This is the one that was in the Arnold Allen card, Polyana Viana. So she had a triangle from the bottom, and that girl just pushed her foot. I'll just play it real quick.
She steps over the foot. And puts all that pressure on that knee that Polyana Viana had locked in. That is nice. That is really nice.
So it's basically it's a body triangle.
So she has the body triangle, the one that tapped out, Polyana.
Correct. Yeah.
And then the other girl just pushed her foot closer to her body, and then apparently that's like it's called the capsule lock. Have you ever seen that? Heard about it before?
Yes, on day 2 of learning jiu-jitsu.
Oh shit, is that all?
Very low level. Yeah.
Oh damn.
To get caught in it is, you're not going to see this at a high level.
Gotcha.
Good for her for winning though, but you're not.
You know what? Oh, someone sent me this, and apparently, okay, let me know if you hear a name here and if it sounds familiar. So this is behind the scenes in this rampage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, what's up, bro? Good show. Yeah, good show, bro. Thank you for the support. Thank you for what you're doing. This is magical, bro. It's so cool. Having a blessed time. When you do another one, you do another one? Yeah, we're gonna keep it going, keep it popping. Francis is good too. Bro, he's a beast.
This is just amazing.
What'd he say?
It sounded a lot like I said Francis versus Schaub.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so that's what people are sending me. Francis versus Schaub on MVP. I don't know.
It did sound like that.
It sounds very much like that. I'm like, Sean? No, Schaub.
Yeah, I don't know who else. What other free agents are out there? Interesting. This is one takeaway from this is in every. How do I want to say this? Whenever you see Jake talk or someone, or even John start doing this in the interviews, it's so magical here. It's so great. It's the best card I've ever seen. It's so magical. Oh my God. I can't believe this. This is so cool. It's like, hey man, you know how I know it's not magical and cool? You keep telling us. The fans will tell you it's magical and cool. I haven't heard one fan tell me it was magical and cool.
Magical is fine.
It's so magical here. Dude, how great is this? Hey man, quit saying that. I'm having the best time ever. It's so magical. That's like when my son's in a bad mood and we're at Disneyland and I know things aren't going well. Are you having fun? It's so magical.
Yeah.
I'm not buying that, dude.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's really nothing going on Fight World except for this.
This
Usyk,
is pretty fucking big
I
shit.
know. I'm just saying. So this is what's going on.
Usyk
but it's like
versus Rico
Verhoeven.
Verhoeven.
This is like his second boxing match for Verhoeven.
Yeah, it's Verhoeven's gonna get fucking a master class in boxing.
Here's the line so far.
Minus 2,500. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a spectacle. This is on Netflix.
It's on DAZN.
DAZN, and it's right there at the pyramids.
In Giza. That's pretty cool.
It's interesting. You know, it's going to be a master class in boxing for Verhoeven. And if you're unfamiliar with Verhoeven's work, you're talking about the greatest kickboxer of all time.
Yeah, he is. Let's see.
Buddy, go down. He hasn't lost since 2015.
Mm-hmm.
That's how dominant he is. But again, you know, fighting the best pound for pound boxer in the world.
Which is a crazy fight, but I mean, he's
gonna be tough for him. You have two. You know, he's basically Usyk in kickboxing, and Usyk is who he is in boxing. They're just doing it in boxing.
Yeah,
Usyk's gonna beat him very bad in boxing, but if this was kickboxing, then Verhoeven would beat the fuck out of him. It's just he decided to do boxing. It's entertainment. I'll watch for sure. I'll watch. It's cool.
Last thing on this whole boxing thing. So Jon Jones was asked as well during that whole fight thing about boxing. He said he wants to get into boxing.
Yeah.
You've seen him actually just box before, right?
Yep.
So how would you say he is as
Not
just
good.
a boxer?
It
Okay.
wouldn't be good. No, again, Jon Jones doing boxing, Jon Jones doing grappling, Jon Jones doing RFA. Listen to what he said before all this. I'm retired. I'm happily retired. I'm injured. I have the worst arthritis you've ever seen. That's it. That's the storyline. He's done. He's done. All good. It's fucking Raw Mondays. That's what's real. Okay?
Okay.
Is that it?
That's it.
Let's get some fan questions. We'll wrap this bad bitch up. All right, fam, let's get to some of these fan questions. Again, if you're curious still how to submit fan questions, the Big Brown Breakdown, you can either DM me or the best way to get them, especially answered on Friday show for Sundays, is by put them in the YouTube comments. So you put fan question, Chin Nick sees them, they break them down for us. All right, that's the best way to do it. Let's get to it. This is Mike_Check_O. I can't see the rest of his name. Okay, a little cheesy on the promo. We knew the main event would look like that. 17 years off, Buzz's girlfriend. Woof. But does MVP have a puncher's chance being legit over time? I thought the fights were so fun, even the ones we knew wouldn't go well, JDS, etc. You should have known all of them weren't going to go well. The question is, do they have a punch chance being legit over time? Depends on your definition of legit. I think they could do 1 to 2 cards a year that are just like this, but there's just not the depth in the roster. You know, unless the UFC has some big business change where they're letting some of these big names go earlier than previous years, they're kind of at the mercy of the UFC stars getting older and getting out of their contracts, which is really tough to do. So as far as longevity, their next big fight is going to be the promoter, Jake Paul, fighting MMA. Outside that, there's not a left on the bone for him. Taylor BB. Opinion on my hot take. Ilia is a little overhyped. Took Josh Emmett to decision. Beat Volk 4 months after he was KO'd by Islam. Beat Max. Good win, but love Max. But should have, if he got the title shot, then claimed there was no challenges in the division. Didn't fight Murphy. Didn't fight Ivalov. Then beats Charles, who at the time was coming off a decision win over Chandler, and lost to Armin before that. I think Ilia gets exposed versus Armin, who has Ilia faced that has truly earned the title shot and is ready other than Volk. But again, coming off a KO for 4 months prior. Is my take crazy? No, it's logical. It's logical, but it's not fun, is it? I'm with you. You know what the thing is, though, when it comes to Ilia, just to kind of give you some pushback, yes, he is fighting some guys that might be a little older at the end of the run, getting Volk off, getting KO'd after 4 months. It's the way he's dominating him. It's really, a KO over Volkanovski early in the second round, a KO over Max, who's never been knocked out, a KO over Charles. So it's just in the first round. So it's just the way he's dominating the dudes just builds to that hype. Now, if he was beating Volkanovski decision, Max Holloway decision, Charles Oliveira's back and forth and he pulls some off late, then you're like, okay. But the way he's dominating is the reason why this hype is deserved. But I hear what you're saying, strength of schedule, but he's starching everybody. Except for Emmett, but, Emmett, especially then, was no slouch. But I see what you're saying. It's not crazy, but it is Raw Monday. 666 Eddie. Will this card do bigger numbies than the White House card? Absolutely not. But Netflix will tell you well. And remember, they started to backtrack. Because Ronda was like, remember, she's like, this is going to be the most watched fight ever. And then as the fight got closer, she's like, oh shit, ticket sales aren't going too well. They keep asking me to push on social media. And man, if we could just get 6 million, I'd be stoked. I was like, whoa. What happened to biggest, by far, all-time, not even close? Where's all that noise? This is the greatest fight of all time. Greatest fight of all time doesn't end in 16 seconds with a rudimentary armbar. Big Doc 01. Fan question, with the announcement of McGregor versus Max, and the odds are putting Conor as the dog, as they should, with all the money he would ever need, why do you think he would come back to the octagon? Genuine hunger to compete, cash grab, and from what you know now, who do you see coming out on top? Let's answer your first one. Why do you think he would come back to the octagon? Because he doesn't want his movie to end the way it's end. Same reason Ronda decided to come back. Same reason, I guess, Gina did. Her thing was really a weight loss issue, though. But these greats don't want to go out like that. So for Conor, if he can get one more fight where even if he were to lose, but he looks good, that will check the box for him. So it's not about money. It's more about his legacy. He doesn't want to be remembered as the guy who lost to Dustin and his fucking leg fell off. So for him, it's not about money. It's about, righting his wrongs and making sure that you don't walk away and thinking of him as the guy whose leg fell off. And money can't buy that. Sleeve 786 V2.1. Change your name. Hey, pal, I'm guessing Max and Conor, misspelled Conor, all good, are fighting outside of Max's best weight at 155. How do you feel about Max jumping up a weight class for this? I think Max would only do it because he won the Conor McGregor sweepstakes, and Conor's been out so long, 70 makes sense. I bet Max is like, yeah, I don't have to miss weight. Conor's been off, so he's willing to play Conor's game. So I like that's at 70. I'm also not mad if it's 3 rounds. Hate to tell you. I think 5 can be too much, especially for a guy that's been out that long. I like the 3 rounds if they were to do that. That's still up in the air, but I like 3 rounds. Even though I know most main events have to be 5, I'd be fine if they made this one 3 and made a special kind of rule for Conor here.
Do you think it'll be more exciting as a 3-round fight?
Yes. Conor's never been good in 4 and 5. It's not his thing. Jim E824. How bad is it for the UFC if Conor looks far worse than anything we saw on the MVP card? God, it'd be tough to look worse than that. It would be really, really shocking and really, really tough to look worse than Nate Diaz. And it happens to everybody. I'm not hating on Nate. I'm talking about bad cardio, bad footwork, lazy striking, lazy jab. It'd be really, really tough to look that bad. Matty Almas. Two questions. One of the biggest problems in MMA is the judging. I'd like to see it scored where when an opponent gets taken down but applies in a submission attempt or landing strikes while the guy is on top is cuddling to be scores for the guy on the bottom. What are your thoughts on how to improve MMA judging? They're doing a little bit of that. Like you saw in the Hamzat fight where before the judges were uneducated and they'd see a takedown, and even though it's not technically a takedown by wrestling measurements in MMA, because the guy was the aggressor and would attempt the takedown, even if the guy would pop up, they'd score it for that guy. So you've seen they're getting a little better with that. That's all I can ask for, because it was so wrestling dominant, so wrestling favoritism, that now things are kind of changing, which is for the best, which is a good thing. Second question, this is funny. What in the Legend of Zelda was Gina opening up with an inside leg kick on Ronda when everyone knew she wanted to get her down? She worked way too long and hard to make that mistake. Did she, though? That's my question. Did she? We know she lost weight, but losing weight and getting ready for a world-class fight are two different things. Did she, though? Maybe she did. But, she looked slow on the mitts. She looked 44. Inside leg kick, fucking wild. But again, she seemed just to be happy and dancing and shit when she got in there, and her victory was well before this fight, MV Baird.
Is it two of them?
It's a lady. Thoughts on MVP? I thought it was cringy and kind of sad. I went in just to be entertained, but felt gross watching. Glad they got paid. Good on them. I went in to be entertained. You shouldn't feel gross watching. You know what? There's two fights where you're like, oh, fuck, what am I doing? The JDS fight, you look at his, the outside bare knuckle fight, outside game bred. You watch like his fights in the UFC where he's getting TKO'd left and fucking right from everybody and their mother. And then this one, you got hit with that 3-piece in a soda to get knocked out. The JDS one, you're like, oh, this is sad. And then the Nate Diaz one, you're like, oh, this is sad. So there's only two of them where you should kind of feel gross. But they also made money. JDS didn't make a ton of money. Nate got paid. And, I guess they stopped it before he got taken out, so that's a good thing. But I feel those are only two fights where I was like, this is tough. Darcy _B82. Did they post an attendance last night at the MVP event? If not, what's your guess? Also, that Rousey fight pissed me off. Told my buddy a minute before the fight started, it better not just be a quick armbar. Dude, what'd you expect, though? But this is the outrage. People, what the fuck, 17 seconds? You ever seen Ronda's wins? Especially if the girl doesn't have fucking submission defense. Like, she's beat way better girls than Gina Carano, who have a way better grappling background in faster time or just around that same time. Like, she has a lot of under 20-second finishes. Boom, boom, boom. That's what she does when she wins. So I don't know what you guys expected of a girl who's a legit white fucking belt. You shouldn't be upset. Be upset you're not educated on the history of Ronda and the history of Gina. That's where the backlash come from. As far as the attendance, I don't know. I have buddies who were there who texted me. I was like, it's not great, but it's not like completely empty where you'd be embarrassed. Also, like, it's tough to tell because the seats have lights on them, so it looks like people are holding phones, but they're actually empty seats. If I had to guess, I bet it was 60% full. Now here's the kicker. Let's say it's 60% full. I bet 10% paid for tickets. I bet more than half those tickets were given away. Last one?
We have two more.
Django _15. What's the odds this will be a bigger gate than Conor Khabib? Not good. Not good. Not good at all, Bubba. It ain't beating Conor Khabib. not happening. Nothing will. You know, we're nothing will. That was the golden age of MMA. It won't. And if you're expecting that, you're gonna be let down. You have an older Max. It's not 55. Might be 3 rounds. You have Conor, who hasn't fought in forever. Before that, you know, he hasn't won a fight in a fucking hot second. So the allure's a little off. We're just excited for his comeback, but that's not going to be the same as a prime Conor against Khabib coming off the Mayweather fight. Like, that's ultimate peak viewership hype. It's impossible to ever get back to those days. I Bear Fitness. That's my boy. Obviously, it didn't go Gina's way at all, but to me, she won in many ways. Fans should be inspired by what she did, losing 100 pounds, looking, feeling great, and getting her confidence back. Yes, Bubba, I'm with you. And I started this show by saying that, like, you know, Gina was fighting, she's already won. Like, losing whatever, 100 pounds, she was whatever, 250 fucking pounds, she's super thick, and canceled, depression. Her weight loss journey was her win. Why people are upset is, granted, good for her, got in shape, but she got paid a truck ton of money to fight. So I think that's where the disconnect is. Like, good for her, got in shape, but also at this level, to main event a world-class fight, because she's fighting another world-class fighter, we assume your ass isn't getting in shape. I assume you're ready for the gig. I assume you have a game plan to not get armbar in 17 seconds. I assume you're not going to throw an inside leg kick against a world-class grappler. I assume if you get taken down, the first fucking thing you do is don't flail your arms in the air. I assume you're ready to go. I have an expectation as a viewer watching professionals fight. So kudos to Gina for getting in shape and getting out of that hole she was in and looking phenomenal, probably the best looking MMA fighter of all time. All that kudos. When it comes to fight night, I need you to fight like a world-class athlete. And that's where our issues come into play.
All right, last one.
Angel Sanchez, 8-9. Do you think Nate took the fight as serious as Mike did? No. I'm a true fan of both, but to me it looked more like a cash grab. Correct. His last few fights have been a cash grab. For Nate, how quick he gassed out? Correct. Nate is a beast and doesn't go out so easy, but do you think smoking weed played a big part in it? No, listen, I'm not one of these guys who think weed adds value to your life, especially as a pro athlete, and we should allow guys to smoke fucking weed all the time. That's all bullshit. But Nate's always done that. It ain't the weed. It's Father Time has caught, and I know he doesn't believe in age, but, you know, his thing is, it's just his time. It's all good. But he got paid his bag. He didn't get seriously injured. You know, head trauma is head trauma, and that's what he signed up for. It's not the weed, Bubba. It's not. It's Father Time, and his reaction isn't there. His footwork's not there. His technique's not there. His toughness is your toughness is the last thing to leave. And I don't think Nate's toughness will ever leave, and that's why we love him. But someone in his corner should probably go, hey, man, to Nate's point, maybe we don't fight, you know, the bare knuckle champ. Maybe we look for other fights that we're not going to take as much damage and we can still get paid a bank, you know? Is that it?
That's it.
All right, dudes, great questions. Love you guys. Thanks for making the show what it is. Nick told me we're getting some complaints about the Big Brown Breakdown intro song.
We switched it.
Did we switch it?
Yeah, we switched back on Sunday fan questions.
Okay, there you go. Nick and Chim pay attention. I don't, but if that's what you guys want, that's what we'll give you. So the name stays the same, Big Brown Breakdown, but the intro switches. So hope you guys dig that. Again, if you want your questions answered on Friday's show, Sunday show, put your question, put fan questions in the comments below on YouTube right now. I will see them. Chin and Nick will pick them, and then I answer them. That's how we do it. See you Friday. Love you guys. Enjoy the fights this weekend. That's it, man. I'll be at the baseball field this weekend. My kiddo has another travel ball tournament, so if you see me, come say what's up. Good luck to all the dads out there. Till next time, I'm out.